In this short video, I'll go through the 9 ways that this new 2021 budget will affect you. But first, please can someone tell me the difference between affect and effect, because I'm lost here. So the first and arguably the most important way that this budget will impact you is that alcohol duty taxes will stay frozen. So basically, alcohol won't be getting any more expensive. For me, it doesn't really matter because I don't really drink that much anyway, but I may have a few shandies come 21st of June. So Rishi seems very keen to help out people and businesses, so he's extended furlough up until September. This has been done in the hope that it will prevent businesses from going under and to protect jobs. This is most likely to affect the age range between 18 and 34, and that just happens to be 80% of my audience, so this could potentially affect one of you or many of you, so hopefully you're all okay and you're pleased about this news. They've also announced that the national living wage is going up by 2.2% from £8.72 all the way up to £8.91, which is not a huge amount, but it is definitely over inflation, so that is something that we'd love to see. So they're also pumping £1.6 billion into people's arms before July. And by that I mean obviously giving the vaccine to people by the end of July. So that's a promising sign for the future of the country. And hopefully this will prevent job losses and also keep companies afloat, because everyone can go back to work and get the economy rolling again. So this is great news, and if you are an anti-vaxxer and disagree, then
this is Sparta!
So self-employed people have had a bit of a rough time this past year, but hopefully this is a bit of good news-ish that may help out if you are self-employed. The government are offering the Coronavirus Self-Employed Income Support Scheme, or the SEISS. Sounds German, does it? Not really. From next month, claims can be made up to 80% of the last 3 months worth of trading revenue, up to £7,500. This will be then followed by a 5th grant which covers May to September. However, the amount of money paid will be dependent on how much turnover is lost. People whose turnover has fallen by less than 30% will receive a grant that is equivalent to 30% of the average trading profits. And for the first time, people who can prove that they were trading in the tax year 2019-2020 will now be eligible, and they can pick up the 4th and 5th grants. So it's better, but it's not great. The extra £20 a week of universal credit has been extended for another 6 months. Here is the eligibility criteria, if you are wondering. I'll just put it here. And in line with this, those people who are on a working tax credit will receive a one-off payment of £500. The government pledged in its manifesto that it will not raise income taxes, national insurance or VAT, and they've actually stuck to it. Shocking, right? However, the tax bill that we may receive in the coming years may be higher than it currently is. The reason for this is that the personal tax allowance is going to increase, but then it's going to freeze for 5 years. It's going to move from £12,500 for the 20% income bracket up to £12,750, and the 40% tax bracket is going to move up from 50k all the way up to 50k and £270. So not really much at all. So these minor changes will actually impact the money in your pocket every single month because of the personal allowance increasing. However, because it is staying at that rate for the next 5 years, as we move in year on year, we'll actually be paying more tax. And by 2026, it is estimated that 1.3 million people will be paying more tax, and 1 million people will be on the higher rate of tax. So you may need to consider what you can do to increase your income inside your job and maybe outside your job with different side hustles, etc., to offset this change that will be happening over the next 5 years. Because as the old saying goes, when life gives you lemons, you cut it up and you put it in your G&T. That's right, isn't it? So the government are trying to re-incentivise people to start buying houses, especially young people. So they are reintroducing mortgages that only require a 5% deposit, and the government are helping back that loan. So this will be available for properties up to £600,000, which is a lot. There's a big scope for buying a potential home if that is your plan. However, as always, if you don't have a regular income, then it may be harder to get a mortgage. but hopefully life will go back to normal and regular income will become a thing again. And if you're currently renting like myself, there's a video here or here that explains why I'm renting currently. Then maybe if you do have a steady income and a bit of cash saved, then you could potentially move out of your rented place and buy a house and take advantage of the 5% deposits. So in the theme of properties and buying houses, etc., the stamp duty break, which was supposed to end in March, has actually been extended to June. Because the deadline was in March, this created a lot of demand and lots of difficulties to actually complete, so they extended it to allow for these completions, which is probably good news for people that are on the edge or in the process of buying a house. And what this means is there's a tax break on the property price up to £500,000. So if you buy a £500,000 house, then there'll be no stamp duty, but anything over, then you'll pay a stamp duty up until June the 30th. This relief will be then reduced after June up until the end of September to £250,000, and then it will go back to the pre-pandemic level of £125,000. And for the last point, there'll be a freeze on fuel duty. That is really easy for me to say, which has been there for the last decade, so it's not really going to impact too much. But obviously the price of oil impacts the price of petrol, so it will still go up and down like it usually does. There's not really much change here. But in a year's time, the fuel duty may go up, so maybe it's time to consider an electric car. I want a Tesla. So that has been the 9 ways this budget will affect you in 2021. Affect, effect, impact, whatever. It's not as bad as I alluded to in this video about this Rishi trying to ruin the economy, but that was all based off rumours and speculation, so you can't expect me to be a fortune teller and get everything right. I was just going off what people said, but I'm glad it hasn't lived up to the hype and gone as bad as it potentially could have been. And on that note, I'm out of here, and if you enjoyed this video, then like that smash button. And I'm not a millionaire, but I'm trying to help you